What would winter field day be like with mild temperatures and no snow? Oh, just a simple operation, relatively outdoors.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of AA3K on the Go. I'm Mark, AA3K, and we're getting set up for Winter Field Day 2023. As you saw in the intro, the weather in the Philadelphia mid-Atlantic area can be extremely variable. The first year I did Winter Field Day 2021, it was very cold, and on late Saturday or on Sunday we had snow. Winter Field Day 2022, we had quite a bit of snow, and the forecast was for even more than we got, so much so that I decided to uh, bag an outdoor operation and just set up in my home station in the basement. This year, the weather, as typical for the mid-Atlantic, it is very cool, low 30s at night, but during the day it's up in the 40s, so I decided to set up in my camper, running my generator and putting up a temporary antenna. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. Um, the new rules, or the rules for Winter Field Day 2023, have changed the categories a little bit. So if you're within 500 feet of your home QTH, you have to use the home designation. But if you are operating outdoors, you can still take an outdoor operation credit, which I'm not really sure which way I'm going on the rules here. But hey, operating in not normal conditions, that's the purpose of this channel, to show you that you can do it. So I'm going to just give you a quick rundown of how I set up inside the camper. And this year I used my ICOM 7300 with the same laptop I've shown in the past, and one extra piece of gear. So that actually made setup a lot easier, and teardown will be almost as quick. So in a few moments, we will show you our setup.
So for winter field day this year, we've decided to go a little bit differently and set up here in my camper in the driveway. I do have the generator running, and that's powering the camper. The computer and the radio are plugged in. And instead of using the 706 that I have used in my last outdoor winter field day operation, I'm using my 7300. And while I've used it for a number of parks on the air activations and just some general traveling and activating, this is the first time I'm using it in anything that represents a contesting type operation. Though Winter Field Day is not necessarily considered a contest, I still, or many stations still, go out and try to do as many QSOs as possible within the contest period. I've been finding, or I have found, the 7300 far more convenient to set up when I'm operating in the field because it has the built-in digital voice recorder and CW memories. Whereas with the ICOM 706, I have to pull out a rig blaster and a WinKeyer interface. This year, and in most of my contesting operations, I do use N1MM, and I have N1MM feeding audio through USB directly to the 7300. While the 7300 can take a string of text and transmit it as CW, N1MM is not set up to do that with a 7300, as not all radios and not all ICOMs support that capability. So I am using my WinKeyer back there to do CW, the send good CW, so I don't I don't get sloppy and messy as I get a little bit tired trying to answer the stations. But the setup is much simpler here. I have a USB extension, one cable to the WinKeyer, one cable to the radio, just power, microphone, a proper Heil foot switch. And I've been wanting to try this for a while, but I also grabbed an HDMI cable and I ran it up to the camper's television so I can display a few extra screens from N1MM, but not necessarily on my main screen in front of me. So it gives me a little bit more real estate here. I have everything set up for voice keying, and looks like we're ready to go. For my antenna, I've set up my half wave, just throwing a rope over a tree branch. We've had these trees trimmed so many times now, they've just sprouted so many small branches. Very difficult to get a line over a clean branch. But so far I'm receiving, it's operating well, and just tied it off to a light pier at the end of my driveway and run the coax into the camper. The end-fed half wave works very, very well. I'm very pleased with its operation, and it's resonant on 10, 15, 20, and 40 meters. And I think I can eke out 80 meters on it also.
Winter Field Day 2023 is in the books. Conditions were just not as exciting as I had expected them to be. Past couple of weeks, we've had solar flux over 200, 220s. I think I saw as high as 240. But this weekend, Saturday and Sunday of Winter Field Day 2023, the solar flux was in the 130s. And it just was a bit of a knockdown, drag out to pull out contacts. I worked a total of 299 Qs, one less than my goal of 300. I had a couple of dupes, so I did actually work 302 total Qs. But I pulled out my log from last year and I worked 306, where conditions were definitely not as good as they have been the past couple of weeks, yeah, months, as the new solar cycle starts. So I'm happy that I was running stations pretty steadily in both phone and CW, but there were long periods of time where it just kind of dragged on. You know, CQ, 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 finally work a station. 10 more CQs, work another station. No gangbuster rates to report. I think my best rate was 3 an hour. No, a little bit better than that. So I'm happy with my results. I did find out a few more things. I could not get my uh, end-fed half wave that's cut for 40 meters to load up at all on 80 meters using the tuner and the ICOM 7300. The generator ran flawlessly again, which was very good. The camper, while it kept me out of the worst of the elements, still got very cold in the evening, down into the upper 30s, even though I had a heater running in here. So, and these dinette seats in the camper, not really meant for long-term sitting. But I do have the table right in front of me. I could have taken this table, which is freestanding, and moved it over to the couch, but I might have gotten a little too comfortable at the couch. Maybe next time. We'll see. So that rounds out Winter Field Day 2023. One more thing. I started the contest using the Heil headset meant for ICOM. So it's a single ear headset, boom mic headset. And I like this when operating in the field because it keeps one ear open and I can keep aware of my surroundings. But for some reason, I found myself getting a little bit annoyed. It was a little bit difficult to copy CW in only one ear, and I've had that problem elsewhere. So I decided to switch over to the Yamaha CM500 headset, which is an electret microphone. So with an adapter that does not have a blocking capacitor for the voltage that ICOM puts on the mic line, this works perfectly with the 7300. However, I did have to switch from the Heil adapter that I was using, which has a 1/4-inch PTT foot switch input, to a different foot switch to accommodate the 1/8 inch input that this particular adapter has. So I had to switch away from the nice Heil, which is relatively comfortable step on, even if you have just your socks on, to this behemoth, which is actually a double-sided switch, I think meant for telephone use, or something like that, but has some pretty sharp ridges, meaning I had to keep my shoes on the whole time. But this otherwise worked fine, other than sliding across the floor. I need to put some skateboard tape, which is rough, on here so it'll grab a carpet and not walk away on me. And that's a consistent problem I have with most foot switches on carpet. And I have a little carpet underneath the table here in the camper. So all in all, if I was to set up this way again for next year, I would put up a separate antenna that would get me to 80 meters. So I could add contacts there. There was quite a few late night queues available that I was not able to join. Possibly move the table to a little bit more comfortable seating position. But the key to doing well in any sort of endeavor like this is to keep your butt in the chair. The more hours you're in the chair, the more cues you'll make and put in the log. I do tend to approach events like this from a contesting point of view. I am a member of Frankfurt Radio Club, one of the world's preeminent contesting amateur radio clubs, and the entire club's focus is on contesting. We operate as a club in the 4 major contests every year: CQ Worldwide, Phone, and CW, as well as ARRL-DX, which is coming up, Phone and CW. And then we have within the club the Proficiency Through Competition program, where we join into about 25 or so other contests and earn points within the club for award certificates within the club. I tend not to get into every single contest because of my work schedule. It keeps me quite busy, and devoting that many weekends to contesting. Peace and domestic tranquility, you know what I mean? So I am packing up now. Got a bunch to put away, not as much as when I used the 706, fewer cables and items put away. Oops, one other thing I forgot to mention for a little bit of a change, I don't know if I have enough cable here, is I did hook up paddles, my dirt cheap paddles on a pretty heavy base, to the wind keyer. So in case I wanted to do a quick dit or RR for Roger Roger in Morse code, made it much easier than trying to do it from the keyboard in M1MM. And that worked out just fine. I had actually never tried that with a wind keyer. So it does mean an extra thing to set up. It's not absolutely required. You can program memory keys or go through the CW keyboard input in M1MM and send out things like that. But sometimes it's a lot faster just to reach over and hit a dot it to send an R. So thanks. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you next time on AA3K on the go. Oh yeah, one more thing. Fly, Eagles, fly. On to Super Bowl 57.